Hey, Adam,
Jeez,
one
why,
thing.
why do you think they called bumpers, Gary?
I don't know.
Because they come at the beginning and at the end, like bumpers.
Alex, you're a marketing guy. Do you like that design behind Paul? Does that SWIT logo thing look pretty cool to you?
Hey, I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, that's really professional, isn't it?
Well, this is a professional podcast.
I met her in a parking lot and was handed 2 little Yorkies. And the only person I knew that knew Yorkies was Paul. So I called Paul and said, Paul.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SoundCloud and subscribe today. Now it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Welcome, everyone, back to our weekly podcast, Sweet Talk, here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. I am one of your hosts, Paul Dickey, the Video Instruction Manager and Apprenticeship Coordinator here at SWEET. And as always, joining me is Angie Wilhelm, our Marketing Director. Angie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing fine. I'm doing fine. And also Raylan Price, our Interim Director here at SWEET. Raylan, how are you today?
I'm great. Happy to be here on Bangle Wednesday. It's a great day.
Bangle Wednesday, yes.
Bangle Wednesday.
For most of us, most of you listeners, you know, we typically record on a Friday, but today we're recording on a Wednesday, returning back from our Thanksgiving break. And I am having just a little bit of wonkiness trying to get on track with the podcast because I had a whole week off away from this.
I hear you, Paul.
So did everyone have a great Thanksgiving? Was it good for everyone?
It was excellent.
Yes,
No,
it was.
nice,
I just want to let everyone know people cannot hear nods. People cannot hear nods.
It was excellent.
Excellent. So today we have a great guest with us today. We have Tana Christensen, co-owner of Platinum Plumbing, who's going to talk about this unique endeavor that she's gone down, where she worked with Dave Doran from the College of Technology to create a plumbing scholarship. Tana, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I'm Tana Christensen. And what I've done is, well, what I have done really nothing. What we have done is raise nearly $80,000 to contribute to a plumbing scholarship in the name of Rick Newlin. And Rick was a staple in our community. He passed away recently, just last month. And he was kind of the head honcho of the plumbing community. If anybody had any questions on what parts to use or antiquated pieces, Rick would always say, I have something for that. So it was really a big loss in our little community. And he was so knowledgeable in the plumbing industry and just always it passed along his knowledge. He was a manager of Standard Plumbing by profession. He was a plumber by trade, but only basically for the reasons of helping other plumbers be successful. So it was really important to me that we did something to honor who he was and his legacy, and in that way we could help other plumbers or potential plumbers become plumbers and carry on that legacy of what an amazing, impactful human he was. And yeah, so we've raised nearly 80,000, like I said, and that will benefit students in the plumbing apprenticeship program.
That's amazing. So I had my own experience with Rick just a few months ago. We were trying to fix a mannequin head, and I needed this little washer, and it looked like a plumbing washer, to screw on there. And I visited Home Depot and Lowe's and couldn't find anything. So I thought, I'm going to go to Standard Plumbing, and went to Standard Plumbing. And sure enough, he found me the little washer that I needed to fix the mannequin head. So he's my hero in more ways than one. Plus, he's probably helped me with plumbing projects too, to be honest, but there you go.
He was that guy for a lot of people. It was really amazing. We had a celebration of life, and it was standing room only. And it was so fitting for his amazing personality and his just love of life and gift of sharing.
That's
So,
so great.
yeah, I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So I have a question for you, Tana. You know,
Sure.
unfortunately, Rick passed a month ago, but in that month since he's been gone, his community raised almost $80,000. So that's a huge testament to how much he was loved within his own community. But can you talk a little bit about why you chose the scholarship for plumbing? Like, what was it about Rick that made you say it needs to be a scholarship versus something else?
You know, JD and I, my husband, we had talked about doing a scholarship for the plumbing program. I used to work at the university, and so I knew about the endowment process and what that looks like. And I've seen the impact that giving can have on different lives. I've been fortunate in that way to see firsthand the students and speak with the donors. So I'm very familiar with that process, and I know how much good can come of it. And we had talked about doing it a while back. We weren't quite in a position to do a full endowment, and I knew it took, you know, the minimum of $25,000 to invest to have that in perpetuity. And when Tal was Rick's best friend, and he is also a plumber. When we were talking after his passing, we were talking about how amazing Rick was and how we could honor him the best. And I said, what about a scholarship, a plumbing scholarship? And he's like, that's a great idea. And it was just from that moment, it was like, okay, I've got to make a spreadsheet. I've got to make a list of names, and I have to have my script ready, and people will want to give to this because of who Rick was. It was so easy to make the ask. Sometimes it's really difficult to join the gift and the donor with the receiver. And this was not difficult at all. It was just a very easy, this is what we're doing. The fact that it was the first scholarship for this program was a huge selling point, because I think a lot of times people in continuing ed feel like we get put on the wayside and like we're not part of the university. And I've never felt that way. My husband would always joke when he finished plumbing school, we're just the redheaded stepchildren. And I have never felt that way because I worked in the university and I knew how inclusive Idaho State was. And, but coming into the program, it does feel a little bit that way. And I thought that was an important part of this scholarship, is to make sure students know that they're supported and know that it is a unit. Idaho State University is one unit, whether it be the College of Technology with continuing education, or the College of Business, or the College of Pharmacy. It's one family. And I wanted students to feel that. So I think this was just the culmination of so many things coming together that really needed to happen. And what better way to do it than in Rick's honor? Because he was that guy. He was bringing people together, a community together, and he deserves to be recognized for that. And I thought this is a perfect melding opportunity to showcase all of that.
It's an amazing opportunity to showcase what one person and a community of people can do to help to push others up, and help them to get into the workforce. And workforce training has a special place in my heart, because you take people and give them a boost, right? You help them to become and to get on a career path. So I love it. And you open doors, which is amazing.
Yeah, to me, workforce training is no different than getting a college degree. I mean, it's cheaper. It's less expensive, but you're getting an education where your artistry and your craft is going to provide for your family and your lifestyle that you want to live. And you're coming out of it with relatively no debt, and you're making a great wage. And the rate things are going now, it was funny. We just saw a video on AI and how AI is becoming so prominent and so inclusive, like with high school students, even writing papers. And I feel like it's kind of handicapping people to think for themselves and to process things. And in plumbing, we have yet to figure out a way to recycle waste more efficiently or to gain access to water more efficiently. So the need for plumbers is going to just skyrocket up. You know, we're not going to have a lack of need in that area. And a study I read said by 2030, I think it's 3 out of 4 people in the trades will retire.
Wow.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're going to have a
Wow.
severe lack of tradesmen. And I think supporting these programs and even bolstering these programs to become better and even more than what they are is very important for the infrastructure of our communities.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, you're so right. And you know that what you said about that career path is so true, Tana. And the other point is a lot of people don't understand that because these are apprenticeships that a person can enter into these fields with little or no knowledge of that trade.
Yeah,
It's designed to lead them from nothing to a journeyman. And that not only offers them an opportunity for a career that can provide for a family, but they could also go down the path where they start their own business.
exactly. And we've worked with several people. We've worked with a gentleman that was a mechanic by trade and came in knowing very, very little about plumbing and became an amazing plumber. So, I mean, it's just a pathway that can be for anyone. It's Betty Pierce. She does plumbing and alongside her husband as well, Rod. And she also subs in as a city inspector. I mean, it's not a man's arena. It's not a young person's arena. It's an anybody who wants to try something new arena or have a stable and profitable career.
Oh, that's great. So good.
So, people listening to this, some additional information is Tana Christian is also a year 2 apprentice in my program. So I've known her for a couple of years now. And she's, again, I want to say this, she's a great student. But her daughter, Charlie, is in the program as well. Can you let us know? Because again, we talked about the opportunities that this provides, but Charlie's kind of unique because she started very young.
Yes. So we opened Platinum in 2007. So my husband's father was a plumber. His uncle was a plumber. It was kind of a family business. In his family, he wanted his own shop. His dad did drain cleaning, and he did not want to have anything to do with that. So for those of you listening and watching, you don't have to play in the sewage. You can do so many other things with a plumbing license that don't have to include drain cleaning. We do not do that at Platinum. So, but we opened our business in 2007. So I've been around it a substantial amount of time. And then the business kind of just skyrocketed after COVID to where the needs of the community were greater than the supply we had of plumbers. I couldn't keep up with the invoicing and the back end work that I was doing and keep my job at the college or the university. So I decided to leave and just focus on Platinum full time. And I figured I better have a license if I'm going to do that. And then when the program opened up to younger students, it used to be that they had to be 18. Mm-hmm. And I think there was a big push to, help these young people get into the workforce. It was perfect because Charlie has been on the job, pushing a broom and bringing parts since she was 8 years old. So it was kind of a good fit for her. She wasn't sure about it at first because of the kind of the thought of the male dominated trade by trade. And she decided that it didn't matter, and we talked to her about having this as a backup plan. By the time she's 19 years old, she's going to be a journeyman plumber.
Amazing.
And she'll have that to take with her always. So she will make, $65,000 a year she could make. And if she wanted to go to university to do something else, then she can afford to do that and carry those, skills forward. And it's just a really impressive program. And I know Idaho Launch has support for high school students right now to where they will support 90%, I believe, 80% of the tuition for the students. So it's like, if you're in high school and listening to this or watching this, or you have high school kids, get them into a trade program now. It can be HVAC, which is heating and ventilation, or it could be electrical, plumbing. Just trades are going to be so important in the future. And it's just a great way to set your kid up for success.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities, again, you're right, though, there's going to be a massive amount of people retiring from these trades in the next few years. When I go to high schools and I speak to young students, I always tell them, I say, everybody wants you. Everybody wants you. So you have so many opportunities available to you. And again, the trades people are still looking for people to work, in those trades positions. And again, when other people retire, they're going to be, hey, I not only need people that coming into the position, but I need people who are going to be, more mature in those positions. So so there's a lot of opportunities for high school students to, go to a trade company and say, hey, I'm interested, and the chances are you'll be welcomed into that fold.
Yes.
No, I would like to build on what Tana said about women in this field. My dad was a firefighter by trade, but he also was a plumber part-time, and he did plumbing quite a bit when I was really little, and then just kept it as kind of like a side gig throughout his career. And I remember as a small child helping him with a plumbing project at a vet clinic. I was maybe 13 years old. And he brought me along. I always helped him with a few tasks because women were just built a little bit differently. On average, we're much smaller than like a man. And my dad was, almost 6 foot tall, had very big hands. And he brought me because the items he was working on were small and he couldn't fit his hands in. And so that was my little summer. And I could, as a smaller woman, I could fit my hands in and do items and tasks for him where he didn't have to take it apart. So if any woman is out there, you may be, and you're thinking about this, you might surprise yourself with how good and how valuable you are to employers.
Yeah. Something interesting too, we just got a quarterly economic report that came across our desk, and the fastest growing jobs in Southeast Idaho are all trades jobs, and plumbing is one of them. It's just right up there. Roofers, drywallers, plumbers, brick masons, electricians, carpenters, those are all the top fastest growing jobs in Southeastern Idaho. So this just falls right into that. So pretty cool.
I am begging for people to get on board with this because we can't keep up. I mean, it's funny, we're kind of doing this little phone circle thing where somebody refers a customer to us and we refer them to somebody else. And it's frustrating for the customers because they're calling 9 and 10 companies trying to find somebody to help them.
Yeah.
But when you're booked 2 months out, you can't just take them all on and help everyone. And it's overwhelming right now, the amount of work that's available for people. So we definitely need more people in the trades. I just had a phone call before we started of a company looking to help them, remodel some bathrooms that's absolutely necessary, and was referred by the group that I would refer them to. So it's like, oh, what are we doing? We need help. We need help.
Yeah. There's lots of opportunities out there for people.
Yes.
So going back to the endowment,
Yeah.
You've raised nearly $80,000, and I spoke to Dave Doran from the College of Technology, who's helped you work on this. How much of what I got an email from Dave of, hey, we're going to work on this, and the first thing I did was I scratched my head going, what? A scholarship for plumbing? I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of this, and I didn't even know that you were involved at the time. And then Dave followed up with a phone call, and we talked about it. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. Can you do it? And what I was impressed by is Dave and other people I've talked to at the College of Technology. They never said no, we can't. We don't want to do this. It seemed to me that they were very open and welcoming and helped, because there was no really structure in place to implement a non-credit endowment.
Right.
And that's something that they had to build and go through processes to figure out how to do this. And it seemed to me that throughout the entire process, no one told you no.
So it's pretty amazing. So I'm used to being told, no, we're not going to do that, or we can't do that, or that's not how it works. Dave has been an absolute gem in all of this. I don't feel like we could have done near what we did without Dave. He's been always asking questions, uncomfortable questions, and really thinking outside of the box. I think Dave is a great development officer, and I would love to work with him again. He has been just a staple in this whole endeavor. And the fact that it's like you said, it's not no, it's how can we make this work? What do we need to change, or how can we make this work? Are people willing to assist in areas that they're not responsible for typically? Paul, for example, this adds more work to your plate, but you're willing to do this because I think people see the value in what this can bring to the students. We've had people come temporarily work for us that are interested, but they can't afford the school.
Yes.
And it's very hard for companies to continue committing that amount when people are going to work for a few months and then leave. You just can't financially afford to do that.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I have a lot of year ones, and the way an apprenticeship work is, year one start at the lower pay scale. Also, sometimes they're not coming in with any tools, and sometimes they have to have the tool purchase. They have to have the enrollment fee. They have to have the book fee, and so that first year is a little hard for them.
Right.
And it's kind of difficult. And as a university, we have a payment plan policy, but we still, there's an enrollment fee. So
Right.
when Dave called me and we spoke to this, I said, this would be great for a lot of people out there, because they do struggle that first year. That first year is a tough one to get through, because again, it's not only the cost of school, but they're learning so much their first year. They're being tasked to do certain things on their first year, and it's a struggle for them.
Yeah, it really is. And then even in I'm calling out the electricians. I think they have an excellent opportunity to do the same thing for the electrical program. I think it's investing in your employees ahead of time. Basically, you're just investing in the future of your own company by giving to the continuing education program. So calling out the electrical companies, get together, talk about it. If you need help, I'd be happy to give you pointers. And
that's great. I love the challenge.
Yeah. Well, what's great about this, Tana, is you've gone through the process now. Again, there has been no non-credit endowment previously. You and Dave worked together on creating this non-credit endowment. So there now, a pathway. So if anyone is interested in creating another endowment for, almost any non-credit program that we might offer, there are opportunities now, and there is a workflow in place that we know how to, Dave Doran knows how to navigate through now.
Right.
So,
and I mean, any of the non-credit programs apply to something in our community. So people learning anything like, name a medical
CNA.
transcriptionist, CNA. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are groups of people in the community that take these courses that want them to be successful, right? Our success depends on their success. So
Right.
I think it's important that people get together and support where they came from. It's no different than the university. You have people donating to the colleges that made them successful. We wouldn't be where we are with Platinum Plumbing without the continuing education program. We wouldn't have had a business that supported our family. We wouldn't be able to support other families who work with us. It's just pretty incredible. And I think it's important to give back. So challenged. Yes.
Appreciate that. Challenge. I love it.
As you guys may have heard, we actually ran out of time a couple minutes ago.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It was such a good conversation that I didn't want to bring that up. But Tana, as we wrap up, before Paul closes this out, can you tell people if they need to get a hold of you, how to get a hold of you if you would like to, or if someone's interested in adding to this endowment, we can always take additions to it, how they would go about doing that?
Certainly. Thank you. I think it's a very good endowment and it's a very good cause to support. Get a hold of Dave Doran if you have any questions on how you can contribute to any sort of continuing education endowment. And do you have his number offhand? I don't have it on me. I'm so sorry.
I don't have it in. What we'll do is we'll put it in the posting.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
I can tell you Dave's email here real quick. David Doran is DAVID DORAN at isu.edu.
That's perfect. Yeah, get a hold of David and contribute where you can. And if you're interested in doing something similar for continuing ed or for any of the programs, he can be able to point you in the right direction. So
excellent. Well, Tana, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a great conversation, and you've done so much work to help facilitate this endowment, and again, something that I think is needed and appreciated in our community.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Now, if anyone would like to check out our offerings, they can go and visit our website at cetrain.isu.edu, or you can email us at cetrain@isu.edu, or give us a call at 208-282-3372. And this podcast is our community podcast. It helps us reach our spread our message out to the community. So please, if you could share, subscribe, so we can share that message to a larger audience. And thank you, Raylan, for being with us today. I really appreciate it. And Angie, as always, I can't do this without you. And be safe out there.